Do you ever see drone delivering chai, to people stuck in traffic?
I don't know, people stuck in traffic. Certainly to your home and to your office, it can deliver chai and it can deliver coffee. But the drone has to be super smart enough to make calls, understand, relay back what's happening. Skye Air is deeply working on, and it is the fastest hyperlocal delivery company in the country as of now. Groceries to iPhones delivered in 7 minutes. So 19 to 21, we were just preparing for it with our own money. No capital from outside. So मुझे prove करने के लिए पैसे नहीं चाहिए. Become a $5 billion economy. We need to progress and make sure that the logistics becomes much better. I met with Nitin Gadkari ji. He's been great supporter of new age technologies. He has inaugurated our UTM platform, how the farmers of the country can go and utilize drones for different applications. We are helping farmers in Himachal Pradesh to carry the apples from the farmland. We converted that 6 hours to 6 minutes.
How many drones are there currently in the sky right now of Skye Air mobility?
I think there are more than 100,000 drones which are flying in airspace today.
In a day, how many orders do you guys fulfill?
About 6,000 package deliveries
Per
per day
day.
in Gurgaon.
Do you look at the skies and tell yourself, okay, we're changing something, how people live?
Of course, I mean, that's the dream I saw 4 years back, that when we should look up to the sky, we should definitely look into the aspects of how it's changing the humankind.
One piece of advice to young innovators.
The most critical factor, in my opinion, is your ability to.
On this episode, we have Mr. Ankit Kumar, founder of Skye Air Mobility, a drone delivery service startup which delivers 6,000 plus orders a day and has raised $4 million in funding recently from venture capital funds. My top 3 level ups from this conversation are how Ankit's conversation with Sri Nitin Gadkari changed his perception about drone deliveries. Number 2, the cost difference between a regular delivery and a drone delivery. And number 3, how this drone delivery is helping farmers to save their time in terms of delivery and getting it delivered within 6 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ankit Kumar, founder of Skye Air Mobility, only on Level Up. Enjoy the episode. To Level Up Podcast Season 2, where our purpose is to help India's youth become smarter and better individuals by sharing successful stories of founders. To help us achieve this purpose, please do subscribe to this channel and click on the notification bell below so that we can make more such videos and this video can reach maximum people. Welcome to Level Up, Ankit. Nice to have you here. Very first question I want to ask is, do you look at the skies and tell yourself, okay, we're changing something, how people live?
Thank you, Devansh. Thank you for having me here. Of course, I mean, that's the dream I saw 4 years back, that when we should look up to the sky, we should definitely look into the aspects of how it's changing the humankind, how it's impacting people at large, and how it's changing everything that we see today. And it's a constant thing which is happening at a regular pace. And that's what you're trying to drive further on, enabling something which is super efficient, super fast, sustainable, and at the same time it's going to save cost for a lot of people, enable more amount of convenience to a lot of people who are living in cities like Gurgaon, who are living in cities like Delhi, Mumbai, and few other places.
Got it. How many drones are there currently in the sky right now of Skye Air Mobility?
I think there are more than 100,000 drones which are flying in airspace today. Out of that, we have a very small piece, which is 25 drones that we are flying today in different parts of the country, especially for healthcare purposes, for e-commerce, for quick commerce. And we're trying to bring that change, which is much needed, much required from multiple defined corridors of things that we have been working towards. So my company is on the forefront of enabling that technology. Skye Air is deeply working on, and it is the fastest hyperlocal delivery company in the country as of now, enabling Gurgaon to be the only city in the world where drones are delivering goods to the doorsteps, to people, to consumers, for the brands that we work with, and enabling a massive amount of change that we are embarked on solving for.
Is it the first company in India at least?
See, drone delivery have been around the corner. For e-commerce and quick commerce, definitely yes. We are the first and the only company in the sector right now who's using drones to advance the amount of deliveries that we are conducting. make it more faster, efficient, and sustainable at the same time.
Okay. I'm going to come to this, how the delivery model works with drones specifically, because it was not heard of probably 2 years back, 3 years back, and now this is something which you guys are really leading into. But before that, I want to understand what were you doing before Skye Air? What's your background, and what led you to starting this business, which has its own unique challenges. As I said before we started rolling, that it's a category creation, so it has a lot of challenges and a lot of government regulation. So what were you doing before? What led you to this?
Certainly. So, I'm a mechanical engineer. I graduated in 2012. I started working for world's largest tractor maker, now known for the most designed or best designed electric vehicles in the country, called as Mahindra and Mahindra. So I worked for Mahindras for about 2 years.
Okay.
Moved to consulting space. Was working for a consulting firm, helping a lot of foreign companies to set up India operations. Was involved in greenfield, brownfield, even an M&A
Hmm.
and a joint venture that the firm was doing, working with the leadership of the firm in order to drive opportunities which were existing for a lot of foreign companies to collaborate and work in the Indian market. And this is 2014 when the new and stable government came in effect. The Modi Sarkar started creating revolution in terms of policy, in terms of where the Bharat has to go, where all the things have to emanate from, and those opportunity sets were something which was really defining the way a country like us is going to progress towards, which was creating good amount of comfort for brands and other businesses to basically look into venturing into India.
Hmm.
2016, I sort of moved out, started my own consulting firm, focusing on clean tech, focusing on electric vehicles. Sustainability was very core to me, and I wanted to work in something which can really define and create an impact to a larger degree.
Okay.
So that's where I decided that I only know consulting and sales and marketing. Let me focus on bringing and helping companies in the sustainability ecosystem with clean tech, with wind, biogas, solar, and a lot of other attributes or ecosystem enablers to basically look into coming to the country, starting to do things, and that's what I enabled. I think I worked across 25, 26 odd companies in the domestic market, in the international market, from Japan to Korea to US and multiple other markets, enabling them to look into the opportunities of how India is transitioning, how the clean tech, and we had that point of time, I think, the goal and the mission to have 100 gigawatts of
Yeah.
solar
Solar
power,
power.
clean power coming in place. And that's a mission India embarked on. And that was something which was being talked about even at the global scale. So we were looking at companies to help them out with coming and taking part in the opportunities to create a new Bharat. And that's the amount of change which was coming in. And I got very deeply engaged with the EV ecosystem, with two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers, electric buses, charging stations, batteries, and whatnot. Invested in a couple of companies. Invested in an American company which was making fastest electric motorcycle. Likewise, did that in Taiwan for a battery maker, and likewise with multiple other companies, helping them out to venture into this particular market. And then 2019 is a time frame when I was consulting for a lot of companies out here, and one of my very good friend, he ventured into drones. I got acquainted with the drone industry to a larger extent. I saw what's going to happen, how things are really transforming, and the last mile logistics industry was really sort of in the phases of major transformation. Because one side you had the quick commerce companies like Dunzo who were trying to start to take up a lot of clients, move towards marketplace, and then forward towards the dark store models. Big Basket was trying to do the same thing. So more and more consumer behavior started changing. And that was very evident that's going to happen in a period of time. There's a lot of deniability by a lot of companies around that. But I had this belief that if the road to transportation, the road to sustainability has to go through all these channels, where EVs, drones, more automation, more AI, and multiple other things are going to fuel this whole piece of development and growth for a country like
Hmm.
us. And that's where I went and started up Skye Air. thought that it's enough of my consulting role, which has been there. Let me just jump onto the ground and start doing things by myself. Started developing a team, very minimal team, creating a technology around it, working on the software stack, working on what it is required for drones to make deliveries happen, and creating whole piece of and focusing largely on creating whole piece of technology around it. So that led to the foundation of Skye Air, an opportunity where the impact and sustainability can come in and where the challenges exist. And it's too diversified. We are a country where I think logistics is too fragmented, too diversified. What works in the west doesn't work in north. What works in north doesn't work in south, and likewise. And how do we build a system where everything works in tandem? And I think a testament to that belief is the national logistics policy, which was rolled out by the government recently, where they spoke about a sync of uh, all the areas of mobility, which is land, air, and sea, working together and enabling more faster logistics, economical logistics, which can go and which can really impact and bring up the changes which are required. Because logistics is the backbone of this country, and that's been supporting largely to the GDP. So if the GDP has to grow, and we have to become a $5 trillion economy, and then further become a second largest economy in the world or
Yeah.
third largest economy in the world, we need to progress and make sure that the logistics becomes much, much, much better. Uh, and it is being utilized in all modes of transportation. It's being utilized to larger degree, and that's the aim that we embarked on solving for.
Hmm. Understood. You mentioned about AI, automation, and technology. How have you integrated these in Skyer?
So the drones, if it has to fly, and you have pilots who is flying manually beyond a visual line of sight, which is if you're not able to see a drone, it's not dependent any longer on the pilots. It's dependent on the system. And if the systems have to be driving the entire thing towards 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, 20 kilometer, imagine 100 kilometer a drone is flying, it has to go to a level 4 autonomy or level 5 autonomy. And to achieve a level 4 autonomy and level 5 autonomy, it's more of system driven approach that needs to go in. The
So a
system
person
needs to be
cannot
more
fly it
smarter.
through the console or
I
something.
mean, a person can trigger it to fly and take off. But then once the drone is in the sky, it has to autonomously fly because you're doing a bit beyond visual line of sight. So a person cannot control it. He can see on the screen the drone is connected to the ground control station, and the person can control the ground control station and command the drone what to do, what not to do. But the drone has to be super smart enough to make calls, understand, relay back what's happening. So imagine a drone is flying in the airspace, and you have a kite flying, or you have any form of obstacles which is coming in. What would the drone do? It has to relay back, it has to hold command, it has to sense that there is an obstacle, hold it over there, uh, take the fail-safe mediums, etc., etc. So the drone has to be smart enough to make those calls and accordingly adapt those calls and relay back the information to the ground control station and further to the pilot who is there. And to build this entire interface, it takes time, and to test it further, it takes more time.
Hmm.
So it took us about 2-3 years to develop that entire framework, go into
To get the final version of your product ready.
of course,
Okay.
right. That's what we did in 2020, 21. In 21, the regulation changed. 11 September 21 is when we took off the first flight, doing about 3.5 kilometer of deliveries of medicines and vaccines in Vikarabad in Telangana. And I think that day the journey started. We started building more use cases around healthcare. We started building more use cases around how it can really go and create disruption in the rural logistics, in the rural healthcare logistics, building up accessibility, which is much needed in places like Vikarabad, in places like upper north of India, northeastern part where terrain is a challenge, where weather is a challenge, and where connectivity has to be there for each and every place that is there existing in this country is one thing which stuck my mind. When our prime minister said that if a country has to grow, the farthermost part of the country needs to be really connected, smarter, and everything needs to be more and more available over
In
there.
sync with them.
Yeah.
In sync
So
with us, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and if you have to build that accessibility and connectivity in that part of the country, you need to really work through mediums like drones, which can basically go and provide the services and the needs and cater to the needs and requirements which exist in that part of the country, right? I'm talking about imagine going to Leh, Ladakh, imagine places which are Gaza and all these border areas, all these areas which are at much higher altitude. The survival becomes a challenge, right? If somebody needs a medicine, if somebody needs to go for a blood test, now getting that sample back to the city, it takes a long time. And if you're bridging that entire gap through drones, which can do this whole piece of
So
logistics in
the
10 minutes, 15
drone
minutes.
inside the drone, the technology is fitted in a manner where it can map that location, how where it is supposed to reach.
So
How
we
does that
developed
happen?
that. It's called as air corridor. We
Air
developed that
corridor.
air
Okay.
corridor. In our language, it's called as sky tunnel. So sky tunnels are developed, which the drones basically follow and go from A to B. And we developed that tunnel in a medium that it is fully connected. There are less blind spots. Obviously, we are not a telecom company that we will have no blind spots, less blind spots, and it keeps on relaying the information on where it is flying and how it is flying, and keep on coming back on that particular aspect. It goes to the other side. In cases of healthcare, we have to land because it's vital samples, fragile. So it gets into the drone. The drone comes back with the blood samples. It carries the medicines and other things which are required. So we create this whole. I think with Himachal Pradesh, we created this whole ecosystem where we were connecting the district hospitals with the primary healthcare centers. And many primary healthcare centers we connected in Mandi, Shimla, and multiple other districts, enabling more faster deliveries, which can be there. And people who are giving their blood samples should receive the reports within 4 hours or 5 hours of doing that. So imagine the kind of services which we avail sitting in Mumbai and Delhi are now being available in those part of the country as well. Now that's a real transformation and real change which India has to go through, Bharat has to go through in order to achieve a greater amount of things and successes, which we too are in sync with the whole piece of the vision that our Prime Minister carries on that particular line as well.
Have you met our Prime Minister in time?
Not yet, but he has spoken about us in Mann Ki Baat
Oh,
when we
interesting.
did this flight for carrying apples for the farmers in Kinnaur, and that was very much applauded. I met with Nitin Gadkari ji. He
Acha.
has been a great, he's been great supporter of new age technologies. He has inaugurated our UTM platform, the Unmanned Traffic Management Platform, which we did in 2023.
Okay.
And yeah, there forward, I think the whole ecosystem which the government is developing around deep tech, space,
Hmm.
drones, and other things, it's been supported to a larger degree, and everybody is coming together to ensure that everything is available for startups and companies to prosper in that particular area.
Hmm.
Because what we are developing is going to change the future of India, is going to make our country prosper on different lines, is going to be a huge employment creator from all different angles. There's a requirement of drone pilots, which is increasing and increasing. There's a lot of skill development which is happening in the sector. Just a year back, I think there were more than there were like 10 or 15 drone training institutions. Today, I think there are more than 100,
Wow.
and it's increasing, and it's getting to a larger degree. You have companies like Dronacharya Aerial Solutions, which have gone and listed in the
SME, I
SME
think.
IPO. They
Yeah.
have done it, etc., and they're doing amazingly well. And that's been seen by a lot of players as well on how do we need to prosper, what are the kind of stuff that they're doing, and this more employment generation which is happening in the sector, which is enabling good amount of change which is needed in the market like India.
How was it meeting Nitin Gadkari ji?
Amazing. Just one word is amazing. I think I
What did
would
he
I would
guy? What did
say
he tell you guys? What kind of inputs or
I mean I think he more looks into any technology from a perspective that how it can go and benefit people on ground. So I would say he's a people's person. He has the I think while we were talking about what we are doing, etc., etc. He asked us a very simple thing: how do you see NHAI using drones at all the highways?
Hmm.
What do you think about ethanol and other products which are there? How it can be used in drones, and how the farmers of the country can go and utilize drones for different applications. And we said we are helping farmers in Himachal Pradesh to carry the apples from the farmland to the sorting stations and grading stations, where it is being packaged and then it's going to the market. And we saved, I think we converted that 6 hours process of carrying from the hilltop to the bottom and then putting on the vehicle and then moving to the grading and sorting station. We This whole process used to take about 6 hours. We converted that 6 hours to 6 minutes.
Wow.
That's a good amount of change which came out there. Of course, I mean, we didn't run it through the whole thing.
As a
We
pilot.
we did it for like 3 months, and then we carried on with those data points. We presented that data point as well to a lot of officials to see how it is impacting at different levels. So I think from a government perspective, Nitin Gadkari ji was like he was super curious about how technology can go and impact people on ground and how it can be utilized on different levels to farmers and to provide benefits to farmers and other people associated over there.
Hmm. Interesting. What are the other support mechanisms that the government has been giving to the drone sector, more specifically to you guys also? Like, how has the government been supportive?
I
Because I
think,
understand there are many regulations
yeah.
regarding drone as a sector. But then, of course, as you said, the government is supporting new age technology, drones and AI, etc. So, how are they supporting?
I think regulation is one piece which has become much easier, which is and it's moving towards enabling a massive amount of opportunities which are existing. The second piece doesn't apply just right now for us, but it applies to a larger sector to develop components out here in the Indian market,
Manufacturing.
where there's a PLI for drones.
Hmm.
Because the whole idea is the more the ecosystem develops around localization and component manufacturing, the better the ecosystem is going to happen and fuel to have resources like that. So I think this PLI for drones, which came out, which where a lot of companies have taken benefit of that. There's a lot of other changes and other things which are also being thought through. There are ministries which are working on subsidizing it for the farmers. There's this IFCO which is working on procuring drones and providing to the farmers and enabling those kind of things. There's Namo Drone Didi schemes which are running, which is incentivizing and providing subsidies to the farmers to create more drone Didis who can basically, and more employment for drone Didis, or self-employment for drone Didis who can go and utilize drones to provide services in the in the vicinity, in the rural complex, and to other farmers and to carry out those kind of stuff. So I think in a whole, there are different departments, there are different ministries which are working on use case specific things where the benefits are being passed on.
Hmm. Do you ever see drone delivering chai, to people stuck in traffic?
I don't know, people stuck in traffic. Certainly to your home and to your office, it can deliver chai and it can deliver coffee. Not sure about people stuck in traffic. It's like it has to analyze you are the right person and it's delivering to you. The
Hmm.
point is not about delivering. It can always deliver to your to anywhere you are stuck. But it's about analyzing you are the right person or authorized person to take that coffee. हो सकता है आपका कॉफी मैं किसी और को deliver कर दूं. But from a delivery perspective, it's possible. From analyzing and doing that, you need cameras on drones, you need multiple things, uh,
Face recognition, stuff
facial
like that.
recognition, multiple things to do that. I don't think there's incentive to add up those kind of technology at this point of time,
Hmm.
or there's premium to add up those kind of technology.
Correct.
I always say that we are a country where we don't need a high end technology. We need an appropriate technology which can really go and impact people. And if we have an appropriate technology which has got a good application, it can be
As value
utilized
for
by,
money.
and value for money. Yeah,
Hmm.
it has to be value for money for sure.
Correct. How does the drone deliver today? Let's take a real life scenario. If I am ordering, I'm sitting at my home, I'm ordering some medicines through Tata 1mg or Pharmacy or something. How does, let's say, so you have to tie up with Tata 1mg, for example. Let's take that as a brand. So you've tied up with them. Now, how does the entire process work? Let's say if I have booked through the Tata MG app, explain me the, like, how does it go through? How do you get the order? Then what happens? What do you do to the drone? How do you let it go, etc.?
So yeah, I mean, imagining that we work with Tata 1mg, we don't
Yeah,
work with Tata
imagining,
1mg
yes.
at this point of time. So hypothetically speaking, if we work with Tata 1mg,
Let's
once they
manifest that.
receive, sorry,
Let's manifest that.
yeah, let's manifest that, right? If you work with them, once they receive the package or the order from you, it moves to our system. We collect that order. If you're operating from their hub, we collect that order. That order is put onto the drones. The drones go to the nearest pod available to your house. If you live in a certain complex, it might happen that there's a pod, Skye pod, installed in your residential complex. If you live in an individual bungalow, individual floors, row houses, etc., it might so happen that it is within a 500 meter to 1 kilometer radius of your house. So it reaches to the drone takes off, goes and drops the package. We don't land. We drop the package into the pod.
Oh,
At
okay. So
every
it's a
pod,
airdrop.
not an airdrop, it's a winching. So it just don't drop it so that there's no impact to the
Okay, so it'll
package.
just come and settle that down and leave it out there.
Yeah, it's a thread basically which starts lowering down the package. It once it reaches the bottom, the sensors realizes it and it releases it, and the pod is within the pod. The package is completely safe. And then there's a skywalker associated with every skypod. He takes out the package, goes to your doorstep, delivers you the package, collects the OTP or the proof of delivery from you, and the whole experience is done in that particular manner. So for you, the experience doesn't change. It's the speed which you are getting in place. It's the sustainability piece of it, because with every package delivery, you're saving about 520 grams of carbon emission compared to the conventional mechanism. Yeah. And you're getting a timely delivery, speed delivery, which is coming into effect. So that's how we will hypothetically work with Tata 1mg, and that's how the experience will look like.
So you have to appoint one person near that pod, the sky pod. At every location, you need that one person, a delivery boy. Let's call it a
Yes,
delivery boy
yes, indeed,
who has to be present there.
yes.
Okay, got it.
So
Understood.
it doesn't kill the job. It
Ah.
creates better employment,
Ah.
because if you see today a rider who's delivering for different brands in food and other categories, he is typically doing about 2 deliveries per hour, right? So if he is working for 9 hours, he's doing 18 deliveries.
Yeah, 18 to 20, let's say. Yeah.
It with each deliveries, if he's making 50 rupees, we're talking about him making about 900 rupees. Is the revenue, is the earning on that particular day. But look at the cost for him. He's got the fuel cost, he's got the bike maintenance, and the recent data that I was looking at is like in 1 month there's like 17,000 cases booked by Bangalore police on the riders who are doing rash driving, who are going through
Crossing
the
the signal.
one way areas. They're just
Yeah,
jumping
breaking
in
the
and they're
signal
doing
or
that.
something.
They're not wearing the helmets. There's a lot of safety issues with them, right? They end up, investing 400 to 500 rupees on a daily basis on such kind of things. So what they're saving out of 900 is only 400 to 500 rupees. Now, cut to what we are developing and how we are changing that entire landscape. Each worker, no matter how much packages he or she is delivering, and so the moment they do a delivery, I mean, typically what we have seen is about 10 package deliveries in a hour. That's
Okay.
the DPH for us. They get paid about 800 rupees to 900 rupees on a daily basis. Within that 800 rupees, his expenses is merely 100 rupees, because it's just delivering within a 500-meter radius. So we reduced the entire radius, and we made last mile logistics much much quicker and more cost effective for the rider or walker who is going and making such deliveries. So he's saving 700 rupees, which is going into his pocket, and increasing and giving him a better savings to count for and invest in some other propositions that he has in mind. So there's an amount of changes which are happening, and for each pod
So, yeah.
becoming based on density, we keep on adding more and more people.
Hmm. Currently, how many pods you have?
We have 70 pods in Gurgaon,
70.
70.
Okay.
In Gurgaon, we have about a mix of walkers and riders. We have about 200 plus. These are people. Some of them are on our third party payroll. Some of them are on a per packet basis on where the density is higher, and that's how we are trying to work around and do things. And the rest of the people are processing and utilizing and doing things at a larger level.
Hmm. Interesting. Uh, in the drone sector, there have not been multiple companies that have come up. There have been few which have come up probably, but not many. Is government regulation a very strong factor for that? That because there are strict regulations?
I don't think so. I think uh, the regulation is supportive function today as we stand today. Uh, I believe it's mostly about how and where you are finding out of the applications and how better suited you are for the applications. Today, when you look at people are not developing specializations in a certain sector, right? Like we are focused on logistics. Even if you give me a very good deal in a certain sector, I won't take it up because that's not my cup of tea. I know that I know logistics. I know logistics very well. So I'll do anything and everything which is related to logistics. That typically doesn't happen in the industry. Uh, you keep on jumping from one to the other sector and you don't develop a niche or specialization in that sector. There are certain opportunities which are not long term, they're very short term opportunities. People tend to take those opportunities and focus on those areas. But then the application segment is limited, right? And you have too many competitions which evolve because everybody can see that opportunity, right? So that's one of the reason I believe is finding out your own niche and building up specialization in that particular segment and sticking to that particular segment.
Hmm.
Not many startups are able to do that.
Hmm.
People who are able to do that, they certainly come out very well. So, I mean, take an example of Idea Forge. Idea Forge was focused on defense. They really grew well with defense, and they're doing super well with the defense and certain other sectors that they have picked it up. Likewise, there are multiple other companies which are very diversified. They do everything. You ask them tomorrow to even do logistics, they will say, "Yeah, we can do that." So I think they just jump on whatever
Whatever
opportunities come
opportunity
their
that they
way.
see. Yeah. But you have to be little futuristic. I think just to do a business which is working in the present or to grab an opportunity where already multiple players are there and that opportunity could be there, but it is something that is happening in the present. It won't yield that much great value for you. Rather than that, you actually build something for the future, which could probably work a little bit in the future. And but there is also a thin line. Once you're planning or once you're building something for future, there's also a thing that okay, you are way ahead of your time. It can also fail. It can also backfire, which has happened with
100%,
many
100%.
startups also. How do
Yes.
you tackle that as a founder?
See, I think
Because
timing,
I would say somewhere you are building for the future,
yes.
and luckily it is that time where India is progressing towards that. The government is very supportive. थोड़ा और जल्दी होते तो शायद कुछ the scenario could have been different.
I completely agree with you. So that's very important to be smart enough to hit the market on the right time. I have seen that very close with a lot of industries in automobile, with a lot of companies in automobile, which who developed things way more faster than anybody, but it was way ahead of time, and probably that time has come right now,
Yeah.
right? So it happens. It happens. I think with every single sector in that particular manner. What is of the essence is realizing and building things, looking at that particular aspects. It is not that when we started, I knew that logistics or drone delivery is not going to become a reality in next 2 to 3 years.
It'll take time, more than that.
It will take time.
Yeah.
So the anticipation, the aspiration, the ability was there to have that time in sync with whatever is being developed. We were not in rush. Okay, let's hit the market. Let's go and take the money from external
हाँ.
investors. Let's go to the VC. ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया हमने,
Okay.
right? We waited for our time. When the regulation changed, when we did the first flights in 2021, I think when there was a validation, see, I had three big clients with me, right? I had Dunzo, I had Blue Dart, I had Flipkart with me, three
Wow.
big clients with me, much before the regulation changed.
So they had already given you a in principle approval कि करेंगे ये.
बिल्कुल करेंगे. We were working on trials and POC with them, and these three clients had their validation in the vision and the ability that our team had, right? That ये करेंगे, ये possible होगा, government regulations बदलेगी, change होगा, and when those changes are going to come, we will be on top of it because we are preparing for it. So 19 to 21, we were just preparing for it with our own money, no capital from outside. My simple idea was that when we hit the market, when we go and do something worthwhile to prove that this can happen, that's a point of time when we should hit the market and start talking to investors and get their capital to spearhead and start conducting this and taking this to the next level. So मुझे प्रूव करने के लिए पैसे नहीं चाहिए. मैंने प्रूव कर दिया है that this can work. Then I hit the market, and that's the time frame March 2022 when we got the first round of investment, where Charity came on board and they led the whole round, and they gave us the money. Okay, this is what you guys have developed. Now take it to a good level, take it to a PMF level where this is going in a certain direction. There's too many variability around the entire sector. So ऐसा नहीं था कि हमें day one पता था कि कौन सा sector अच्छा होने वाला है, right? There's healthcare, there's agriculture, there's
You had to
e-commerce,
choose a
there's quick
couple.
commerce. There's multiple gamut of things which exist, right? I think you have to choose one. You have to spearhead in that direction. You have to keep working in that one direction. And then parallelly, it's not that you have to be blindsided by that. You have to parallelly look into what other things are going to happen, how the market dynamics are changing, consumer behavior is changing, etc. So while we were doing that in 2022, we also started seeing the consumer behavior changes with Zeptos, QuickCom, etc. And we saw that QuickCom is going to become much bigger. The 10 minutes delivery is going to become much bigger. And that's a point of time when we started working on the city model. Earlier, before that, it was all healthcare model that we had in place. So we raised our first round based on the healthcare model that we had, right? We went to the market. We did a lot of understanding. We collaborated with the government. We work with the state governments. We work with different sectors. Private sector adoption was picking up. We were working with larger pharmaceutical companies. We were working with diagnostic companies. We were trying to do whatever is needed to be done in the sector to enable accessibility in healthcare. Now, while we were doing this, we were not blindsided by that. We were also seeing what's happening in cities. We're also seeing what's happening around the world. And we were seeing what exactly is going to work for India. So we started developing for the city model. It took us about almost a year. We started that in middle of 2022 while we were taking care of the healthcare model. We started developing the whole infrastructure play. How will the pods look like? What will happen? How the pods will sync with the drones? How the drones will go and drop? How do we eliminate the drone part to be landing? What are the kind of stuff which is required over there? How do we work on the powertrain module? How do we increase the life cycle of the batteries? I mean, off the shelf batteries were giving a life cycle of 150. We worked with the vendors to change that to 300. Now we are working towards going to 500 and 800 cycles. So the unit economics, each and everything is being calculated for at what stage it is going to change. And we are not seeing today. While we're there in the market today, we are not seeing today. The alignment is that I know exactly what is going to happen in 2026, 2027, 2028, and that whole pathway to hit different scale, to hit larger growth level stage, is everything is mapped and everything is counted for. And that's what we are progressing towards. So I think that's the focus and that's the mindset. But then we are not deviating from logistics. ऐसा नहीं है कि if something is not working out in logistics, we'll go to defense or we'll go to any other sector and we'll start working over there.
So the main macro theme will always be logistics.
Yep.
Within that, you started with healthcare. Now you are predominantly into.
We started with healthcare. We tested with agri.
Hmm.
We now I think the majority of the focus is the healthcare is certainly there. We are working with the Department of Post, by the way. We are also doing speed post deliveries from in Arunachal Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh. And Department of Post has been kind enough to do that entire trials with us to understand and gauge that data points and then work on that data points कि हम pan India पे कैसे लेके जा सकते हैं. So not just the private sector but the government as well is very much focusing on digitalizing the whole experience for people. And that's what we're trying to create, working with both public and private sector players, and realizing on the potential to go forward with. And then I think e-commerce, quick commerce, eventually food is gonna be a massive sector for us, and that's where the defocus lies today. Taking the Gurgaon model to Delhi, to Noida, to Greater Noida, expanding to NCR, and then further going to Bangalore, Mumbai, and other localities and other locations, taking the similar model in those particular places. So that's the stage where we are right now. That's where we're focusing on.
So
And
totally right now in a day, how many orders do you guys fulfill
what we are doing today is about 6,000 package deliveries
per
per day
per day?
in Gurgaon
Wow,
alone.
wow. And
Yeah.
this is per drone, or this is
No, no,
across
just across per day.
across 25 drones, right? 25
Across
you said.
25 drones.
25 drones.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Okay, got it.
So 6,000 package is not something we reached today. We started with 50 package deliveries last year. I think July we were doing about 50 package deliveries. So in a month, in July 2023, we were doing about 1,500 package deliveries in a month. In October, we did 1.5 lakh package deliveries. So that's 100x growth in one city in a year and a half sort of a time frame. And yeah, I think that's still very bottom. Uh, the potential opportunity for us to go to is about 10 lakh shipments in a monthly basis from one city.
In Gurgaon itself.
It's good for itself. There's a lot of potential opportunities which exist today right now for us.
And
But yeah, one thing is for sure, it's not gonna happen that drones are drones are a replacement to a certain things, right? Drones are not available all the time. It's like drones are available 80% of the time. So it's a multimodal approach that we have taken, where the walkers and riders get converted to riders, and they go and also deliver, and they use more sustainable means of transportations to do that.
so electric vehicles predominantly.
Electric vehicles, multiple other. I think there's a choice at the walkers and the riders end on how they want to save on and how they want to deliver the entire stuff. But yeah, what we work on today is same day delivery, 4 hours delivery, and 10 minutes delivery. And with certain companies, we have even enabled 7 minutes delivery on a regular basis,
How
and
can you
that's
commit
that's why
that?
we say
How
that.
can you say 7 minutes? I mean, it is.
I mean, we have done that.
It is in like wildest of my imagination that okay, you order something and in 7 minutes it's gonna be here.
We have done that.
Wow.
And we are doing that on a regular basis today in Gurgaon. Groceries to iPhones delivered in 7 minutes. Of course, I mean, we are not a
You have
platform
delivered
for.
iPhones also.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think in October we delivered more than 600 iPhones, 16, 15 Pro, Max, etc., etc.
Crazy. Okay. Can you run me through the unit economics on a drone basis? Like how do you guys calculate that अच्छा ये drone अभी profitable हो गया है. So for example, you tell me how much do you spend on one drone? Like what is the cost of drone? And then like how do you make sure that it becomes profitable? उसको कितना महीना लगता है profitable होने में? And how do you calculate that?
There are a lot of things which are trade secrets. I can't share on the
Don't
platform,
share
but
the exact
yeah.
numbers, but just for the cost of drone, tell me the exact number. But other than that,
Sure.
you can just tell me, okay, in an example manner that okay, we get 100 rupees per delivery or whatever. It can just be an example.
We don't look into drone level, bifurcation. What we look into is a hub level bifurcation. When we say hub, it's a unified platform where everything gets aggregated together for multiple clients that we work with. Of course, segregated at the hub level in different processes and different things that we do right now. So we look at the hub level and we look at the city level, right? At a hub level, some of our hubs are reaching to a break-even point. At a city level, it will still take us good amount of time and good amount of scale to hit to a positive level. But I'll tell you what drones can build up and bring up. It's to a level when we are able to scale to a certain extent. We would be roughly about 35 to 40% on gross margins. And that's a point of time when it will be all break even and everything will start happening in that particular manner. For the drones, a drone cost cumulatively what we buy from third party vendors and what we developed in house put together. In 2022, when we were buying this, it was costing us about 15 to 16 lakh, every drone. We did a massive level of changes on that, and we have brought it down now to about 7.5 lakh. So there's a reduction of 50% which came in by eliminating a lot of things which followed the first principle: eliminate things which are not needed, remove a lot of subjects from there, focus more on the safety part of it, added tons of things which are required from a safety and reliability perspective, built more redundancy into the entire system, and those are the aspects that we worked upon.
Interesting. And this is so this is the same drone, like, which can be used for even, like, taking videos and all that stuff, or the drone thing is completely different. How big is it?
uh, 3 meter. So imagine a 4 meter, sub 4 meter is a hatchback car.
Yeah.
It's 3 meter wingspan
Oh,
is one drone. So
okay.
it's literally as big as near equivalent to a car.
Hmm.
That's the amount of space it will capture.
Wow. When it is
Yeah,
flying
yeah,
completely.
yeah.
All right, got it. And how
Including,
much weight can it carry?
so our drones are able to carry anything between 8 kilos to 10 kilos of weight, payload weight, but that's the dead weight we are talking about. Volumetrically, it can carry about 21 liters. So that's a good amount of weight which is required. See, majority of the packages, if you look at the last mile, 84% of the packages, 85% of the packages are between 0 to 3 kilos. There's another 7-8% of the packages which are between 3 to 5 kilos. So majority of the packages are between this particular levels, and those are the aspects that we deal with.
Hmm. So at one time, the drone is only going to take one order, or it can take multiple orders and go and deposit at that, the what is it called? The pod.
Depends. I mean, if you're taking a same day delivery, one drone may carry 20 packages also, because time is not a constraint over there, right? You need it same day. It can move, it can do quickly, right? If you need a 10 minutes delivery, it might carry one, it might carry two, it might carry three, depending on what is the order density and how fast the order is coming from one particular sector. So that's how it's evolving. So quick commerce becomes much, much, much critical. If you look at from the sides where quick commerce is able to take benefit, one is that you have dark stores which are catering to 1.8 kilometer. It can increase to 3 kilometer, 5 kilometer with drones coming to the picture. So you have more area to cater
To
to
cover by one dark store.
with the same turnaround time and SLA's commitment to the customers. Uh, the second thing which comes in effect is the drones can wait because the aerial distances are shorter than the road distance. If the road distance is about 2 kilometer, the aerial distance might be about 800 meters to 900 meters. So typically, when I say 7 minutes delivery, we deliver in 3 minutes. The 4 minutes is taken by the walker to go from the pod to the doorstep. Drones are making that delivery in 3 minutes. It takes off, goes, drops it. That's it. It travels at a speed of 45 kilometer per hour. So that's what is there typically today. So drones can wait for another 2 minutes, aggregate and batch more orders coming from the same locality. And when the aggregation comes in effect, which is not there today in quick commerce at this point of time, when the aggregation came in effect, it creates better outcomes and it creates better cost economic
Yeah,
viability for
absolutely.
anybody.
Yeah.
So there are multiple benefits that a quick com company can actually take out of this, and a more faster deliveries plus the efficiency plus the sustainability piece can actually come together and be built with
So
this.
you're talking to quick commerce companies to implement this, or you
We work with
already
some of
working?
them.
You're working with them?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is in Gurgaon predominantly.
Yes, we do everything in Gurgaon.
Only in Gurgaon right now. Okay. You've raised around, as you were talking about investors also, they invested. So you've raised, I think, around $3 to $4 million, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, we raised our seed round in 2022, which
Hmm.
was about $1.7 million, and we raised a $4 million round, which just concluded in April. That's with Mount Judy Ventures who came on board, and apart from them, Charate Ventures who followed on, Venture Catalyst, and a few other Windrose, Tremis, and few other HNIs who came and joined us and who believed in that what we are developing can be actually scaled, and the time is now, and we should do it now, and we should take it to multiple other cities and multiple other markets, and that's the position where we are right now.
Got it. Uh, my question out here is, with these investors, like how did you find them, and how many months did it take for you to convince them, or they were already convinced, they were aware about what you guys are building? How did that journey start from the first round?
I think
The first round, because second round, the shayad they would already be knowing, or they would have got some information.
I think this first round was I mean we got connected through multiple sources. I think it was very new to us. We started connecting to angel platforms. From angel, somebody connected to somebody, somebody connected to somebody. I think there's a network effect which actually works in the investment community, and it led to the other one. The other one led to the other one. I think we had a commitment of 2.2 million.
Okay.
We actually went to the market to raise 1 million, ended up raising 1.7 million. So that's a story that happened with us because
Tell me more about that. How the story? How did it turn around?
we went to the market to look for $1 million, and the idea was that let's take this 1 million, increase more things, and then establish and then go for another round of investment that can happen.
Okay.
And the idea was not to go to a VC or a micro VC. And our thought process was very simple that we didn't think that it is making a case for a VC today. So we were focusing on largely on angel and networks. We started taking commitments from them. I think we started this whole exercise in November, and we started getting commitments very very quickly. It's not that we had to go through a lot of things to get those commitments and
So
things in
people were
place.
excited by
People
listening
were
to the
very excited
story.
about this new regulation. I think regulation was one of the hurdles which was existing before all this happened. So regulations changed. We were doing tons of things on the ground. Visible tha. People had built the comfort level. Angel networks saw that this one of opportunities which are existing right now. Let's go and try to do some bet on that particular area. I think Angel Network started putting in the commitments and other things which was happening for us. So by the time I think by maybe around I think December we already had a commitment of 900K.
Okay.
Then somebody introduced us to Chirate, and we started having conversations with Chirate. We started understanding the value prop that we can get for the future rounds, the value prop that they can bring on table with more access. And then Chirate invested in Flipkart, Myntra, ExpressBees, and First Cry, and multiple other companies in the space. So we had this notional idea that uh, with this we can have access to more customers as well,
Correct.
and we can start working with those portfolio companies as well, which can help us to build a case for the e-com and quick com and other markets. So we saw that there is a lot of value addition which can come from Charate, and I think then the conversation started, and then we finalized it, and they said they are leading the round. So if they have to lead the round, they have to put in the $1 million which has to come in. So we increased the size of the round. We said, okay, let's do 1.5. But by that time, parallelly, this track was happening, and we already received from 900K, it jumped to 1.2 million, and then Chirate's 1 million. So we had 2.2 million. We said, यार इतना लेंगे तो फिर there's too much of
Dilute बहुत हो
dilution.
जाएगा
Yeah,
starting
there's
में.
too much of dilution which will happen. So we started reducing it. We went back to all the angel network, and we said that we cannot take this much. So we are putting up this much of kitty. So everybody has to come down. Although we want you guys, but everybody has to come down. So did that, squeezed to 1.7 million, raised 1.7 million, started expanding, started developing things, started working with these clients, added up a lot of diagnostic players, state governments, and very uniquely positioned proposition which was there in the market. So that happened in 2022, kept on developing it. Then in 2023, we went to the market to start raising. We ended up raising certain bridge, CCDs further getting converted to the next round,
Hmm.
etc. And then 24 is when we concluded the entire round with Mount Jody Ventures came in effect. And they started supporting. Again, the same value prop that we saw with Chirate is what we were seeing with Mount Jody Ventures. They are investors who are very closely working with founders, believing in founders, and helping founders to drive better efficiency and sustainability in the whole piece of business. So it's not just about putting up money in and burning money and acquiring market. It's more about putting in money where there's a good amount of value addition which can come either to the tech or to the team or to the whole piece of the business which is there. So that started happening with Mount Judy Ventures coming on board. There are a lot of portfolio companies again that we are trying to work around with and do things in a different way. Yeah, I think, and that's been the story here.
Interesting. Interesting. Top three things you think these VCs saw in you and your team?
Uh, difficult, but okay. From my understanding, what they saw, it might be different than what they actually saw. But I think the whole passion and
कभी तो बात किया
perseverance.
होगा कि क्या देख लिया आपने
I think the whole passion and perseverance that we had in terms of sustaining those years when the regulations was not there, believing in this can happen, and continuously working towards that. See, during those 2 years, 3 years, there were a lot of ideas that people started throwing in. Manufacturing कर लो, ये
हाँ
जब
क्योंकि
तक
वही
जब
मेन
तक
ड्रोन में तो वही था कि सबसे बेसिक
राइट
लेवल पे इट वाज
राइट राइट
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग
एग्रीकल्चर कर लेते हैं, जब तक रेगुलेशन नहीं आता है कुछ और कर लेते हैं वगैरह वगैरह. आई वाज लाइक नहीं यार, यही करना है, यही आता है, यही करना है, इसी को बड़ा करना है, इसी पे काम करना है. Let's not digress ourselves and get into 5 different sectors. We'll never be able to focus on one. There was a lot of ideas which was thrown that let's do manufacturing of the drones ourselves. We'll save this much of money. I said no, yeah. We don't know manufacturing. If we do manufacturing, we should not do service. If we are operating and doing service, providing service, we should not do manufacturing. Let's just focus on one specific area. So I think that specificity that we had in mind, um,
क्लैरिटी
logistics play, clarity that we had in mind, कि इसी को pursue करना है, is what I think investors liked also. From a perspective that your guys are just focused on one sector. You don't have, you're not going and doing everything by yourself. You have a very balanced team that you're trying to create, and you have backgrounds on what you guys have worked upon and how you have done things with, and you carry that passion and perseverance which is required to sustain in an industry like this, which is way ahead of time, and it requires more and more perseverance as you go forward. So I think those are the things that typically which I feel
दे वर
इन्वेस्टर्स ने देखा होगा, बट रियलिटी तो वही बताएंगे.
अभी पूछ लेना उनको
Never
okay
thought of, but since you asked this, certainly we'll ask them here.
so tell me some interesting incident that has happened with your drone with a customer with a with your client or something. Tell any particular incident that is that has stuck with you.
I think there are many incidents here. I think primarily लोगों ने आलू प्याज के भाव से भी हमसे negotiations किए हैं, because it's very hard, in logistics. It's very hard to convince somebody on the technology front. I think everybody looks into the aspects of कि कितना कितना cost effectiveness create कर सकते हैं. So goes that way, and then every team when they get involved, they certainly try to create a value add that they can bring on the table. So there have been clients long back, not right now, who have done that. And there are many interesting stories around it. But मैं आपको एक किस्सा सुनाता हूँ for what we did in Gurgaon recently. जो हमें एक USP आई from the customer's end. So there's one apartment that we deliver goods to on a daily basis for quick com, for e-com. And we randomly just went one day, one of our team members went one day to speak with the customer, ki, how's the experience, what do you guys think about it. They gave us 2-3 USPs which we never thought of. Okay. उन्होंने बोले यार ड्रोन से ना मुझे सबसे ज़्यादा फ़ायदा, आई थॉट वी विल टॉक अबाउट स्पीड, टाइम एंड ऑल द स्टफ. दे डिडंट. दे सेड ड्रोन से सबसे ज़्यादा फ़ायदा जो हमें हुआ है वो ये हुआ है कि पहले देयर वर लॉट ऑफ राइडर्स विच वर स्टैंडिंग at the main gate. They were blocking the whole traffic. And it was a narrow way to basically for a car to go inside. And they said that the best benefit that we have got is we no longer find those amount of riders which used to stand and which used to block the entire traffic. Secondly, the security has become much better because we don't find them randomly coming and using the elevators. The elevator has become, the usage of the elevators
Yeah,
have
of
become
course.
much, much better.
Correct.
So it's a big amount of convenience that we get because of drone delivery. We said, wow, Never thought of this, but
Hmm.
going to use this in the next pitch. So likewise, I think when we started this is one more story. When we started this in the first place for one of the large D2C brands, तो उसने lenses अपने order किए थे.
Okay.
And so he ordered a lens at 11 p.m. Midnight, something like that. And he was expecting कि 2 से 4 दिन लगेंगे लेंस बन के आने के लिए. And when the delivery happened, the delivery was happening about 11 in the morning, 11:30 in the morning. So वो शेरवानी में घर से निकल कर जा रहा था. It was his marriage. It was his wedding that day. So वो शेरवानी में निकल के जा रहा था. Suddenly a guy went and he said, सर आपका आपने जो लेंस ऑर्डर किए थे वो है. He was like, इतनी जल्दी कैसे आ गए यार? मेरे को तो लगा 2 दिन के बाद आओगे. You made my day. And he was so jumping on joy. He was so happy. He even went on social media, wrote about it. He was so happy that उसने बोला तुमने मेरा वेडिंग डे मना दिया यार, मज़ा आ गया, आपने इतना अच्छा कर दिया. Similar incident happened with one guy. He ordered midnight. The lens was delivered next day morning. He was like, ये अच्छा ये सही तो है ना, मतलब आपने
प्रोडक्ट
ओरिजिनल
तो सही
प्रोडक्ट तो
ले
दिया
गया
है. तो so the people, what we realize is people are not able to believe that how fast it is happening and how fast the deliveries
but
have
it is
started
happening.
happening. And we have some of those data
Feedbacks and
or
testimonials,
feedback
yeah.
that we have received from the customers, and we really work upon those aspects to create that wow factor that any customer would like to have, because all we care about today is how much efficiency, while we are building up the efficiency and speed into the entire system, how that is actually translating to people on ground. Is it helping them? How is it helping them? What kind of wow factor is being created, etc., etc. So we try to maintain that. We try to work on customer service. We try to work on the customer support, the customer delight, and multiple other things. So it's not just being a logistics, a new age tech logistics company. It's also understanding the end consumer. Though I have no relation to the end consumer, but we are a B2B player.
Correct.
But understanding the requirement set that they have and creating
And then
a
make that
factor for them.
solution for the B2B client.
Yeah, because that's the end objective that we have, that we want to a bridge between a consumer and a brand. And not a marketplace. Don't quote me on marketplace. I'm not competing with any of my customers. So not a marketplace model, not any model, but I think a bridge of satisfactory delivery, a happiness being delivered to the customer is what we want to build all around the corners.
Wonderful. All right, we'll move to the last leg of this, which is the rapid fire. So be quick, be rapid. First question is, if you were to be given 100 crores today to buy Skye Air, buy your stake in Skye Air, buy the company, would you take it? Yes or no?
Me buying the company?
No, someone else giving you 100 crores that I want to buy this company now.
No. Not the stage right now.
Not at this
I
stage.
think even today we worth thousands.
Okay, so if someone gives you 1,000 today,
I don't know. We'll have to see that. We'll discuss
अभी
if somebody
सोचने को
gives.
आया.
Nee, we'll discuss when
1-0
somebody
makes
gives.
a difference.
1-0 makes a difference to think about it
Think about it
and discuss.
Of course. One piece of advice to young innovators.
I think innovation is the ideas, the innovation is very, very, very critical. But the most critical factor, in my opinion, is your ability to go through that whole process, having that amount of grit and rigor. Because trust me, entrepreneurship is not a cup of tea for everybody. It's very challenging. There is a flashy side which everybody sees, but the life is not so flashy. I have a very favorite song. This called as "Remember the Name." Okay, and it talks about what it requires for you to build that, build that process or go through that process to be remembered. And it says that it requires luck. That's like 10%. It requires to go through the perseverance and gathering up the motivation and the form factor which is required with it. That's like 15%. The pleasure is only 5%, and the pain is 50%. So I think till the time, and I think every word of this song really stands out very, very
What is
true.
it called?
Remember the name.
Remember the name.
Okay, so and every word of this song really
सुनना
stands
पड़ेगा.
true for the entrepreneur. because that's the amount of pain you have to go through. Yeah, the 50% is, I think it should be 60, 70%. But yeah,
Mm.
that's the thing that you have to go through.
Okay.
So idea is good. Your team has to be solid. Your co-founder has to be super, super, super solid. If you are going through a certain amount of certain degree of pain, your co-founder should go through the same amount of pain and should have the perseverance to carry through that. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be left behind. You have to learn about uh, being living and depending on yourself to drive things in, and being believing in the passion that you started things with. Many times people forget about that. They see so many things and they
Yeah,
think
they
about,
just see the rosy picture, na?
they just see the rosy pictures,
Yeah.
and many times people forget about that, that what I believed in and what was the motivation for me to begin this, and where I am today, and what I'm going to do in the future as well.
Hmm. All right. Third question. One wild item you want to get delivered to a drone, out of the box item, product.
One wild item I want to get it delivered through the drone.
Hmm.
Okay, weird Xbox.
Mm. Okay. Last question to end this episode. What is your vision for Skye Air for the next 3 to 5 years?
I think we are a company which is focusing on consumer very well, and we want to focus on, like we are delivering today the cargo. We might even deliver or move passengers between A to B, and I think the vision our vision statement is pretty much in line with that. That we want to operate a futuristic means of transportation, carrying cargo and eventually people from A to B, and be a mode of connectivity to establish between them, their friends, families. Ultimately, it's a connected world. We all are depending on somebody. We have families to go around, and I think we need to give more time on that. Hence, the speed in delivery, the speed of convenience, and everything will have a good amount of trigger points for people to go about it.
Hmm. Got it. Wonderful chatting with you, Ankit. Thanks a lot for coming down and doing this with us. I think a lot to learn about perseverance, about entrepreneurship, about being futuristic when you're trying to create a business, when you're trying to create a startup. Looking forward to Skye Air, really growing by leaps and bounds. And I'm sure you are on that cusp of that journey where you are, going to do a lot of more big things, and looking forward to that growth of you guys. Thanks a lot for coming on this episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devansh.
Thank you.